Crochet friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Now today is Monday and it marks the first day of our Christmas in July 2024 celebration. Woo! But the reality is it is July and we are going to be doing a couple of Christmas in July patterns. And this is our Christmas in July gnome hat. It's a nice pointy hat. It's made out of super thick and chunky yarns, so it works up really fast. And the other really neat thing about it is it has 3 sizes. All right, so we have the adult or youth size that measures about 22 to 24 inches. Keep in mind, it's very stretchy. All right, then we have the child size, measures about 18 to 20 inches. And then we have the toddler size, and it measures about 14 to 16 inches. And so there's 3 different sizes. Now this hat is made to be a little bit comfy and loose. If you want it just a little bit tighter, you can always go down a hook size, and we'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. Now this is our Christmas gnome or gnome Christmas hat, but the truth is, if you want to use this for, say, a Halloween costume, you could change all the colors and make it in whatever colors that you want to. I chose Christmas colors because it's, of course, Christmas in July. Now you can find the complete pattern with all 3 sizes and all the information and lots of pictures, of course, on my blog, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. So as far as yarns go, I used the Premier Basix Chenille Brights in red and white for the red and white portions of our hats. Then for the stripe here, I used green and yellow in our Premier Parfait Chunky, and these are our limited edition colors here. This one is called Seaweed Salad, and this one is called Summer Squash. And of course, this is just white and red. All 4 of these are super bulky number 6 yarns. And the neat thing about that is it's going to stitch up really fast. It's great for a last-minute Halloween costume or a last-minute photo prop, family picture where you want everybody to be in matching hats. This is a quick stitch up. All right? So you're going to need a different amount depending on what size that you choose, okay? So you're going to need approximately 1.5 to 2 ounces of the white. You're going to need 1 ounce of the green and the yellow, and then you're going to need between 3 and 5 ounces of the red, of course, depending on what size hat that you're going to make. Okay, we're going to be stitching with our end hook, which is a 9mm. And this is one of my favorite 9mm because I added this polymer clay handle. It's nice and chunky. All right, now you're also going to need a needle, and make sure you get one that has a nice big eye for weaving in ends, and you need a pair of scissors. And then you also need some sort of embellishment. Now you can see on mine, I just added this fun pin that I had that says Merry Christmas. You can add a pin, or you could add a button, and I've got several different kinds of buttons. It's decorative, so you could add 2 or 3 smaller ones, or a big one, you know, would look really pretty. It's kind of up to you what buttons you have in your stash. And right now, all the craft stores have all their Christmas buttons out, so you have lots to choose from. These great big ones like this, I got in a bag from Walmart. These fancy ones, I got from Hobby Lobby, and you can find the best Christmas buttons over in the scrapbooking department. Okay, they don't seem to have as many of the fancy ones in the fabric department. They're over in the scrapbooking area, and that's where I found a lot of my fancy buttons. All right, so that's just, you know, your choice. And so you don't really need a lot of things. And I will say this, if you don't have a bulky number 6 yarn, but you want to make this hat, you can use 3 strands of a medium weight, number 4 held together, or 2 strands of a bulky 5 held together, and get about the same thickness if you want to make this gnome hat. So the hat that I've already stitched up completely here is the adult youth size, that is the 22 to 24 inch. And again, the child or medium size is 18 to 20 inches, and the small or toddler size is 14 to 16 inches around. We're going to be starting with the band, all right? And so I've got my white out here in my mat so that you can see the white. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our slip knot. All right. If you're making the largest size, you're going to need to chain 7. If you're making the medium, you're going to need to chain 6. And if you're making the small, you're going to need to chain 5. And for our demo today, I'm going to be making the small size. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so no matter what size you're making, the hat is still stitched the same. You're just going to have less stitches. All right, so we're going to go in the second chain from the hook and stitch a single crochet, and then we'll stitch a single crochet in the remaining stitches. So for the small size, I'm only going to have 3 more stitches. So 1, 2, and 3, and chain 1. All right, and so that's row 1, because we're going to be stitching rows and make the rows long. All right, so for the large size, you'll have 6 single crochets. For the medium, you'll have 5, and for the small, you'll only have 4 single crochets for row 1. So we've stitched across. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we'll go right in that first stitch and stitch 1 single crochet in each. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and chain 1. We chained 1 and then 1 stitch in each, and so for the small we still have 4, for the medium we still have 5, and for the large we still have 6 single crochets for row 2. And so what you're going to do is you're going to continue to repeat what we did on row 2. So you'll repeat row 2 for the small size 31 more times. For the medium, you'll repeat it 35 more times. And for the large, you'll repeat it 39 more times. Chain 1, turn, and 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets across. Chain 1 and repeat for the size that you are making. I have completed my hat band, and again I'm making the small, so mine's only about 14 to 16 inches. Now at this point it's real important that you measure it. If it's coming out too big, and that can just be if you're stitching a little bit looser and you want that hat to be just a little bit smaller, maybe fit a little tighter, you can go down a hook size or 2. If you're stitching too tightly and you want it to fit a little bit looser, you can always go up to a 10 millimeter also. So you can adjust it, and I would do that at this point. Measure it, see if it's the size you want. If it's too big, like I said, go down a hook size or 2. If it's too small, then you can go up a hook size. It's really quite simple to adjust it at this point. If you wait until you've already finished the hat, then it's too late to adjust it, and you'll have to pull it all out. And this fuzzy yarn doesn't do well with being pulled out. So measure, measure, measure on the hat band for a good fit. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the 2 ends together. So we're going to stitch the amount of single crochets down the side, what we've been doing. Like I've been doing 4 single crochets. So I'll go in the first one on each side, and I'll stitch 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now I have a hat band. And this, of course, will be your back. Now, if you're making the medium size, you're, of course, going to have 5. And if you're making the large, you're going to have 6 single crochets. So now we've attached our hat band, and we're going to change colors to our green yarn. So we're going to change colors. So I have not done a chain 1 or anything. I just finished my 4 single crochets, and we'll weave that in later. We're going to bring in our green. And again, you can use whatever colors you want. I'm just making mine the same as the other one that I made. All right, we're going to chain 1. And so what we're doing is placing 1 single crochet in the end of each of our rows, which is the side of our row, but we're doing it on this side, not in the rows. Okay, so in the side, which now becomes the top, we stitch 1 single crochet in each of those sides. And if you go right in that end there, you'll have the right amount. Okay, make sure you count them so that you have the same amount of single crochets around as you do rows. If you added more rows or subtracted more rows other than what I put, then your count will be different. All right, so I'm making the smallest size, and so I need to have 34 single crochets. So I have 34 single crochets, and again, for the medium you should have 38, and for the large you should have 42. Make sure you put one in the top of this row here where we joined them together. All right, and now we're going to go in that first single crochet and slip stitch, but we're not going to chain 1 because now we're going to change to our yellow yarn. So we'll grab our yellow yarn, bring it in, snug everything down, and we will have a little bit of weaving in to do since we're changing colors a little bit. Chain 1 and go right in that first single crochet and stitch 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets around. And this just gives us, you know, a little bit of pop of Christmas in there, so that it's not just a red and white hat. It gives us just some fun. And if you want to choose different colors, you certainly can. And it would be really cute if you're using a couple of strands of medium weight number 4 to add one, maybe a sparkle color in there. You could use a yellow and then a sparkle. You know, you can do whatever you want with this pattern. It's very versatile. All right, so 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets around. I placed 1 single crochet in each of my single crochets around, and then I joined to my first single crochet, but I'm not going to chain 1 because we're going to change to our red yarn. We're going to be doing the hat portion now. All right, and we're going to be stitching that in double crochets. So we're going to grab our red, snug everything down, because we do have a lot to weave in back here, but don't worry, we'll do that when we're done. All right, so now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, make sure everything's snug back here. And so we're going to place 1 double crochet in each of the single crochets around. We're not adding or subtracting any stitches at this point. All right, so we still have the same amount of double crochets as we did single crochet stitches. And yes, this yarn, both the Parfait and the, what is this one called? Chenille Brights, both of these are fuzzy yarns, and you are going to get an occasional piece of fluff. That's why I put this mat down. Also, it helps see with the white. But as you're working, and also when you weave in and clip your yarns, or if you make a pom-pom, you're going to get fuzz balls. And I'll explain to you what I do to get rid of those fuzz balls quickly at the end of the video. So we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those single crochets all the way around for every size. So I have repeated that row of 1 double crochet and each double crochet around. And again, I have the same amount here as I do on these 2 rows. And what we're going to do next is just repeat this row for 2 more rows. All right, so we're going to do 2 more rows of just 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, join, chain 3, and repeat, so that we have 3 rows of double crochet, and this is for all 3 sizes. I have completed those 2 additional rows, and all 3 of your size hats should have 3 rows of double crochet in red. This is where it's going to change again, because the size of the band is smaller than the larger ones, right? And so we're going to begin decreasing. And when we decrease, there'll be less rows the smaller the hat, all right? But you'll do it the same. So again, our chain 3, like on these 3 rows, counted as our first double crochet. And then we'll double crochet in the next stitch. And then we'll stitch the next 2 together in a decrease. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, then go in the next one and pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through the first 3, yarn over and go through the second 2. And so the repeat for this row on all sizes is 1 double crochet in the next 2, 1, 2, and stitch the next 2 double crochets together for a decrease stitch. And we'll repeat this all the way around. 1 double crochet in the next 2, and 2 double crochets in the next, 1 and 2. And you'll already notice how it's starting to go in a little bit. And we'll repeat this all the way around and join back again to our chain 3. I have completed that row, 1 double crochet in the next 2, 2 double crochets together in a decrease stitch, and repeat that all the way around. And you're going to continue to repeat this every row until you end up with only 4 double crochets. And of course, this bigger size like this one, you're going to have more decreased rows, where on this one you're going to have less. And that's how we decrease it down to a point. All right, so we're going to continue to repeat 1 double crochet in the next 2. So our chain 3 counts as 1, and then we'll double crochet in the next, and then double crochet the next 2 together. And we'll do that for as many rows as needed until we've decreased down to only 4 double crochets. And again, the larger sizes, the medium and the large, will have more rows than the small, of course. And of course, the large will have more rows than the medium. One double crochet in the next 2 and decrease by stitching 2 double crochets together with the next 2 stitches. And we'll repeat this all the way around for as many rows as needed until we only have 4 double crochets left. So I have decreased down to where I only have 4 stitches left, and I'm going to cut my yarn, but I'm going to leave a little bit here so I can gather that up on the inside. So we're going to tie that off, and now we're going to turn this wrong side out. All right. And yes, we have some weaving in to do there, but before we do that, we're going to gather up the top of this hat, and then we'll weave those in. All right, so I'm going to put this on my needle, and we're just going to go around the top of that so we can gather up the top of our hat closed. I'm just going around the top of those stitches, and then I'm going to make a cross across a couple times. We want that to hold. We don't want the top of our hat to open up. There we go. And this is what I like to do at the top. All right, I hold it here I'm going to go through those stitches again. And then I'll take these two and tie them. And this will give us a nice sturdy knot in the top of our hat that will keep our gnome hat from coming undone. Now I'm going to take a few minutes here and weave in these ends so it's nice and tidy on the inside of my hat. And then I'm going to show you how I made that fun pom-pom. Alright, so to make this sort of floofy pom-pom, you're going to cut off one strand in the hat color, which we're using red, and then we're just going to grab one strand each of the other colors that we're using. And I'm just going to wrap it around my hand loosely for a couple of times. Alright, and then I'm going to cut off the green and yellow because I just want a little bit of it. And then we'll use the red and white for more because I want those to be the two dominant colors. I just want a little bit of the red or the yellow and the green. And we just wrap it around a few times like this. It needs to be floofy and loose, not big and puffy, unless that's what you want. All right, and then we're just going to take this, put it through there, and tie a nice knot so it stays. All right, and then we'll just clip our strands. And I like to use my container here to catch all my strands. And the first thing I do is I just cut it. And I don't want this one to be as big as the one on the large size because I am making the smaller size. But of course, the size of the pom-pom is up to you. You can use a pom-pom maker if you want to, or a template. I use a template sometimes. But for this particular type of pom-pom, I like to just make it floofy and just wrap it around my hand because I'm not looking for perfection on this. But you certainly can do it however that you want to. All right, so now I'm going to cut it again. Right across there. I probably should have used my bigger scissors on these bigger strands of yarn, but that's okay. These are Fiskars, so they're good scissors. They're just not made for cutting big, thick yarns. There we go. Shake off all my floof. There's my floofy pom-pom. All right, let's move this out of the way. And we'll grab that smaller hat. And we're going to put it on there. Super easy. You just put your hook up through there. And you don't want to go through the same hole for your two strands. So you're going to come in one side for this one. And then we'll come back up and grab the other one. Pull those through in here. And we'll just tie a nice knot so those won't come undone. All right. So now we have a floofy pom-pom for the top of our gnome hat. So here is the large youth to adult size, and this one is the smaller one. And I've not added a button, but I certainly could add a gingerbread button on there, or maybe just some fun buttons. Whatever you want to add, you can add onto your hats. All right, so this is the large and this is the small, and we have a medium size in between. And remember, if you have a really smaller head and you want to go down a hook size for the band, that's totally fine. It'll bring everything else down as well. If you want it bigger and looser, more comfy, you can go up a hook size. Because this is just stitched in single crochets and double crochets with decreases, it's really easy to adjust the band to fit any size. All right. Now, lastly, if you have a bunch of fuzz on your workspace, grab your lint roller and just roll it right up, and it'll pick up all that fuzz super fast. All right. Merry Christmas in July.